Hello, Internet, and welcome to the first episode of Donuts Hole in the Wall. On today's episode, I'll go over how to not replace the power switch on the Commodore 128 computer. There were ups, there were downs. There was a week where all hope was lost. But in the end, we'll get there. So come with me. We'll take a peek through the hole in the wall and see what's on the other side. So, I've had this system for over 30 years. It was in storage for a good part of that, as I had a job that required me to travel quite a bit. Even after I settled down, I still had things keeping me busy. Then, one weekend, I attended my first Vintage Computer Federation event. And I was changed forever. See, during the first day, there was a workshop on repairing non-working VIC-20 systems. I jumped in and managed to walk away with a working VIC-20. But the floodgates had been opened. I had the need for repairing. I came home and ordered a desoldering station. It wasn't the snazzy Hakko unit that I had used that weekend, but it still does the job. I had pulled out the 128 to get autographed that weekend by none other than Bil Herd himself. So I set to work, getting it up and running. I found a bent pin on a ROM and a non-working RF modulator. After ordering a monitor cable to work around the out-of-commission RF modulator and resetting the ROM pin, I was able to get the 128 working. However, the previous owner had replaced the power switch with something not so standard. Since I had a 64 that was beyond repair with the parts on hand, and had already sacrificed it to bring other systems up, I figured the power switch wouldn't be missed. Removal went smooth, and I now had a replacement in hand for the 128. That was the last time any part of this process would go smoothly. After what seemed like an eternity of swapping back and forth from the desoldering gun to the soldering iron and back, success! Sort of. A couple of the pads had decided that they wanted to go on vacation and stayed with the removed wiring. The system already had some previous bodge work done, so what are a couple more wires? Time to clean up the holes and get ready for the new switch. And after cleaning out the old holes, it's time to fit the new switch. A bit of soldering later, and the new switch was in place. Sort of. After the removal of the old switch, I should have paid attention to the check engine light coming on in my brain and gone to sleep. Nothing good comes of sleep soldering, which can be seen here. And here. At this point, I was defeated. I was tired, and I was convinced my old friend was done for. But 1 week later, I got over it. I had discussed the issue with a few members of an engineering Discord group I joined a while back, particularly a gentleman by the name of Johan Grip. Now, Johan has done something both crazy and incredibly useful. By analyzing original 128 mainboards, he's drafted a set of files that can be used to create brand new boards that are compatible with the originals. After a download of KiCad and a git clone later, I was able to easily trace where the various pads connected to, in order to jump each power switch pin to its nearest neighbor. Johan, you are awesome. So with this PCB layout in hand, I formed a new plan to get my machine back. Step 1. Remove the new switch. Since some of the pins wouldn't be connected anyway due to missing pads, this shouldn't be as bad as the first one. I was wrong. Step 2. Snip pins 3 through 6 in half. This would mean that they would no longer reach the board and would have to be jumped with wiring. Conveniently, The old switch had wires attached that would work alright for this purpose. Step 3. Learn to love the bodge. Jump the lines to where they need to go, whether they link to existing pads that might still be there, or to their next upstream connections. Either way, get the power where it needs to go. Step 4. Hopefully, plug in and flick the switch and see the magical green and gray screen from the 80s. At minimum, avoid releasing the magic smoke. Starting with step 1, I went back into remove the switch mode. But this time, I had a new tool in my arsenal that wasn't here a week prior. Solder flux from a syringe. A little bit of this would help pull more of that solder up in no time. Or so I'd hoped. So, I went back to work. And the switch came out. Again. And now, on to step 2, snipping the switch legs. And there we are, snipped legs, ready to have wires attached where required. So with step 2 complete, on to step 3. Adding the wires and jumping them to their ultimate destinations. Unfortunately, I ran into a slight issue. There is no video from this stage of the process. Suffice to say, using the PCB layout as a reference, I was able to get things where they needed to go. So with that, step 3 was complete. And finally, step 4. Time to power up and hope for the best. The right voltages getting to the right place with enough amps to get the job done. And the result? It's alive! I decided to run this demo developed by June of Nybbles And Bytes in order to test disk access as well. Kudos to June for providing this demo on the back of her business card. Awesome work! So yeah, with this, step 4 is complete, and the old rig works again. So that about wraps up the chronicles of how not to replace the 128's power switch. Special thanks again to Bill, Johan, and June for their various contributions, and to the group at the Coriolis Effect Discord community. I've placed links to a few resources in the description, from the Coriolis Discord to Johan's GitHub page, to Nybbles And Bytes website, among others. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me, and I look forward to seeing you again. It's time to leave the wall and get back to work. Until next time, take care.